A little while ago, someone asked me a thought game. Said, Leanne, if somebody handed you $1 billion tomorrow, based on everything you've been through, what would you do with it? I thought about it. I pictured a massive, sprawling mud mansion on a rolling green hills outside California, a cathedral of light and water. But then I looked around my life right here in the middle of Mojave Desert, and I realized the irony. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'd do with $1 billion at the end. But first, you need to understand how I learned to make dirt pay. Being an only child back in the 60s meant you had to have a massive imagination. My best friend was my dog Ginger, and my favorite playground was a bare ground. I spent hours digging forts, making mud pies, convinced Ginger loved them, and drawing blueprints for my future dream house right in the sand. I was raised around livestock and horses, growing gardens with my mother. Some of my fondest, safest memories were staying with my grandparents on their property, surrounded by chickens, goats, and fruit orchards. That dirt got into my soul early on. Fast forward a few decades, I grew up, got married, had a beautiful family of 5 children. We didn't have that grand dream house I used to draw in the sand, but those childhood memories kept calling me back. I wanted my kids to have that same deep connection to the earth. So as soon as we could afford a piece of land, we started homesteading. We grew massive gardens, we bought dairy goats, hogs, and chickens. I homeschooled all 5 kids through the public school system, and we threw ourselves into the local 4-H. Times were hard. We worked as a total unit to make ends meet, and with our faith in God, got us through every single struggle. We didn't know it yet, but that gritty survival knowledge was about to become our most valuable asset. By 2008, 3 of my kids had grown up and started their own journeys. My twin sons stayed close. My husband had a stable job at the block company right down the street. For the first time in our lives, we could finally breathe. We even had a few dollars to spare. I remember watching my favorite movie, Seabiscuit, and crying from the opening scenes. It starts with the 1929 market crash of the Great Depression. Then a voice in my head kept asking, could we suffer the same fate again? Is that even possible? I started watching the stock market like my life depended on it. And then I watched the Dow dive 777 points, live on Fox Business. For a few years, my husband kept going to work, and I thought maybe we had dodged the economic bullet. During that period, I kept learning how to make fiber from flax and stumbled onto cob building on YouTube. Wow, the idea of building a structure out of free mud right beneath your feet blew my mind. I started small. I built a patio fireplace we called the Flaming Mud Pie. I built a pizza oven out of local clay, straw, and sand. I was a kid again, playing in the mud. Then the ultimate happened. The block company closed their doors for good. My husband's job was gone. The financial crisis had finally knocked on our door, and it hit us hard. We pulled a small 401k, waited for unemployment, and braced for impact. By 2013, the unemployment extensions ran out. There were no social safety nets for us. We were entirely on our own. So my son Jared and I sat down and figured out a way to survive. I started a blog on my friend's website, and I titled it Making Dirt Pay. We had to get creative. Propane costs were skyrocketing, and cold showers in the winter were not an option. So we stripped the guts out of an old gas water heater, put in a new valve, and mounted it right on top of our cob oven. We ran hot water and cold water lines to the toggle valve into our main tank, and lit the fire. Not only did it give us free hot water, but I could also bake bread in it. We used that system for many years. There was my husband's health. He was dealing with diabetes, and I told him he was going to have to work that blood sugar off. So using old blocks from his closed-down job, he hand-dug an 8 by 10 root cellar, 7 feet deep. And guess what all that digging gave us? An endless supply of beautiful free clay. With winter screaming down on us, we used that clay to build a cob room outside. Through an old converted barrel wood stove inside, and rigged a fan system to blow the hot air into the house because we couldn't afford proper indoor stovepipes. It wasn't perfect, but it kept us warm. We survived the winter on faith, homegrown food, and raw resourcefulness. Eventually, the economic winter thawed. My son Jesse landed a job at Walmart that carried us until my husband and I found work again. But dirt wasn't done with me. When I look around today, my home is completely paid for. My family is right here with me. I have a pottery studio, a greenhouse, a pool, and a canopy of trees protecting us right here in the middle of the Mojave Desert. Everything I drew in the sand as a little girl, everything I truly dreamed of, I already have right beneath my feet. So back to the question, if somebody gave me $1 billion today, what would I do with it? I'd look them in the eye, I'd smile, and I'd give it right back to them, because you can't buy what I already have. But in the desert, there's one resource that dictates whether you survive or give up: water. And that's when we faced our next crisis. I call it the miracle of the water well.